Hi all, welcome to my channel. Today we will be discussing about Linux log analysis, how it is done by SOC Analyst. In last video we discussed about how Windows log analysis is done by Security Analyst. So Linux logs are mainly classified into four types. They are application logs, service logs, system logs, event logs. And it is stored under a directory and a subdirectory. As var underscore logs. Every types of logs are stored under this particular path for all Linux platforms. Here we will discuss about critical log categories. So if you look into this slide, you can see HTTP logs, cron logs, fail logs, authentication logs. These are the types of logs that security analyst or SOC analyst should focus while investigating the Linux logs. So if you take an example of cron logs, why it is important? In a certain kind of scenario, when a hacker compromises a Linux system, there is a possibility that he will implant certain kind of script under cron. Cron jobs means it's like a scheduler in our Windows. So we need to focus on the cron logs. Then HTTP logs. Whenever our Linux servers is having any web application like Apache, Tomcat, etc. It is important to investigate from which or public IP the hit is occurring. Is there any IP whose reputation is bad? So those kind of logs should be investigated and analyzed by the SOC analyst. So during that scenario, we require HTTPD logs. Then X4 logs. It is mainly in the case of SFTP server and all, what happens is like whenever it got compromised or bypassed via any anonymous port, what will happen? There's a possibility the attacker will implant Trojan or botnet. So it's important to understand which all are the file has been transferred in both direction, inbound as well as outbound. Then normal the authentication logs, which captures the authentication failure, how many failures has occurred, is it from a legitimate username, or the how many counts the failures has occurred. Those kinds of logs will be captured under auth logs. So these are all the main critical logs that SOC analysts need to focus during their investigation via SIEM platform. Then comes how it is done, which all are the key parameters they should focus. First and foremost is timestamp, then the host name, then which service is running and which is the application. Then priority port number, both from the initial port as well as the targeted port. Then the message. So I have taken an example for a normal failed password. So you can see timestamp is there, the service is there, targeted port is there, from IP is there. So this is how the sample logs will be. So SOC analyst need to investigate each and every critical parameters which I already described over here, so that investigation will be easy, so that you can correlate what is actually happening from on the targeted Linux server. Thank you. Here ends my small video for the same. It will be continued.